Hello all. Today I thought we'd explore the story behind the rhyme about a goose wandering up and down the stairs and, seemingly without invitation, entering a lady's boudoir. We'll be examining the connection between the rhyme and the persecution of priests in Elizabethan England, children being mean to crane flies, and the links with prostitutes in medieval London. It turns out geese have a much more eventful life than you might think. Let's start with the rhyme as we know it today. The most common version goes like this. Goosey Goosey Gander, whither shall I wander? Upstairs and downstairs in my lady's chamber. There I met an old man who wouldn't say his prayers, so I took him by the left leg and threw him down the stairs. You may know a slightly different version to this rhyme, and we'll look at that in a minute. The earliest recorded version of the rhyme is in Gammer Gurton's Garland, first published in London in 1784. This book has turned up quite a few times in my videos, most recently in Dr. Foster Went to Gloucester, and I plan to do a separate video on the origins of the book and its significance in the history of nursery rhymes. The version of Goosey Goosey Gander in Gammer Gurton's Garland, and try saying that in the first take, is slightly different from the one we know today. The last four lines about the largely unprovoked attack on the old man are completely absent. Instead, it ends with, "There you'll find a cup of sack and a race of ginger." A cup of sack is an old term for fortified Spanish wine, and the phrase is still used by some producers even today. A race of ginger is another name for ginger root. Why the lady has either of these in her chamber is lost in the mists of time, but their presence does hint at a potential meaning of this early version of the rhyme. Far from being designed for the nursery and little children's ears, it might originally have been a bawdy ballad and published in a chapbook. In medieval England, a goose was another name for a prostitute, and this reading sets the rhyme in a brothel, and specifically in London. In the 12th century, Southwark, on the south side of the River Thames at London Bridge, came under the jurisdiction of Henry of Blois, Bishop of Winchester and brother to King Stephen. Henry successfully lobbied the king to make Southwark a liberty. This meant he had almost complete control over its laws and taxes, and being the good churchman that he wasn't, he used the power to license playhouses, inns, taverns and brothels, most famously the tabard pictured here. The women working in these establishments became known as Winchester geese, after the bishop. Winchester itself is actually over 70 miles away. You can visit a memorial to the generations of women and children who were buried within the Crossbones graveyard in what was then unconsecrated ground. Today it's a popular place to go to remember those who lived on the margins of society in London through the centuries. If we run with the theory that the rhyme is about prostitution, then the sack of wine wouldn't be out of place in the bedroom of a bordello, while ginger has since antiquity been linked with improving a man's sexual prowess. I'm beginning to regret singing this song to my children. But there are other theories for the origin of the rhyme, which are equally out of place in the nursery. Iona and Peter Opie make a very convincing case that the verse about the old man being thrown down the stairs was originally a completely separate rhyme, recorded in 1780 in Nancy Cox's songbook. Yes, that really was the title, and it went like this. Old Father Longlegs cannot say his prayers. Take him by the left leg and throw him down the stairs. When he's at the bottom, before he long has lain, take him by the right leg and throw him up again. Father Longlegs, or sometimes called Daddy Longlegs or Harry Longlegs, is a colloquial name for a crane fly, and in a macabre twist, apparently the rhyme was sung by children as they ripped the legs off the defenceless insects. Nice. The OP suggests that this rhyme and Goosey Goosey Gander may have been amalgamated in the early 19th century to make the rhyme we know today. There is some speculation the man is actually a priest, and this may have something to do with the other version of the rhyme. A parson in the pulpit couldn't say his prayers. He gabbled and he gabbled till he tumbled down the stairs. The stairs gave a crack, and he broke his back, and all the congregation gave a quack, quack, quack. This rhyme seems to have changed later to the more anodyne version of the stairs went crack, he nearly broke his back, and all the little ducks went quack, quack, quack. It's from this point that those who like to find hidden meaning in rhymes have really got to work. The most popular theory is that Goosey Goosey Gander is linked to the English Reformation and the persecution of Catholics, just for a change. Regular viewers will know that the Reformation is apparently the origin of a quite ridiculous number of theories about nursery rhymes. Among others, Mary, Mary, Quite Contrary and Three Blind Mice, which I've done videos about. This time the rhyme focuses specifically on the persecution of Catholic priests during the reign of Elizabeth I and James I, and the attempts by the Catholic landed gentry to maintain their observance of the old religion by protecting the clergy who were visiting their country houses to conduct mass. The authorities under Elizabeth had strict punishments for those found to be receiving or delivering mass. For a first offence, land could be confiscated. Doing it again, you could wind up in prison for a year. Do it a third time, and you got prison for life. Meanwhile, if you failed to take the oath of supremacy, that is accepting the monarch as the head of the Church of England, you could be found guilty of high treason. Meanwhile, a priest found to have converted an Anglican to the Catholic faith would suffer death, along with the convert, so the stakes were high. What emerged was a game of cat and mouse in which the authorities would descend unannounced on the houses of the gentry with known Catholic sympathies. This is Harvington Hall in Worcestershire. The families in turn would attempt to hide the evidence that they had conducted mass, concealing the vestments and altar furniture, but more significantly, hiding the priest. And this is where the so-called priest hole comes into being. These being often ingenious hiding places with concealed entrances, in fireplaces, attics, under stairwells, or behind wooden panelling. Some houses might have multiple hiding places. Harvington Hall had 7. These concealed entrances were so ingenious they're still being discovered into the 21st century as houses undergo renovation. The implication in the rhyme is the old man is a priest, who, for reasons not explored, is found in a lady's bedroom. He wouldn't say his prayers is presumably referring to not using the Protestant Book of Common Prayer, and so when he's caught by the priest hunters, he's grabbed by the left leg and thrown down the stairs. Being left-footed was and remains a derogatory term for a Catholic, and I think we can all agree being thrown down the stairs can't be good for your cassocks. Now what do we make of all this? Well, as we've seen, the original version of the rhyme doesn't include the throwing down the stairs part, and it also ignores the crane flying version where the man is thrown back up the stairs with his right leg. But does this really matter? Personally speaking, I'm not sure we should take it all too seriously. So long as people are enjoying the rhyme, and if it provides a way into exploring the past, so much the better. Who's to say how future generations will interpret songs and sayings we recite today? So that's the history of Goosey Goosey Gander. And if you happen to live in an Elizabethan manor house in the English countryside, don't forget to look behind your Jacobean oak panelling to see if you have an undiscovered priest hole. I'll be doing exactly that later today. And if you find one, write about it in the comments section below. Bye for now.